All right, second grade, this is our last session for today. You've been working really hard all week. So everything we've been talking about should be review if you've been at our school before. So that's why we're going a little bit more quickly. If you're new though, just keep up, do your best to learn things as quickly as you can, which as long as you're paying attention, you're good for that. But don't worry if you don't remember things right away. We're going to keep reviewing these things the next month or two until you know all of them. And, when we're often just to learn something, we have to go over it a few times. So today we are going to go over again our sentences. All right, because I've been noticing that some of us are forgetting to check that we have all 5 things that a complete sentence needs. All right, so we're going to go over it again. And then when you write a sentence after that, I'll leave this up here and you need to use it to check. All right, so a sentence is, what do we make sentences up out of? Right, we make sentences out of words, right? We scoop up some words and this is our group of words we're going to make a sentence with. So a sentence is a group of words. All right, so we didn't do this before, but since we use our hand to check our sentence and see if it's complete, I like the idea of when we're going to write, before you check it, you scoop up your words and then you check and make sure it has all 5 things. So show me how you can scoop up your group of words. Get those words. And now we're going to check and make sure. That way we've got our hand in, and that way we can make sure we have all 5 things. So a sentence is a group of words that has let's see, the first thing we need is the sentence has to be about something. What do we call who or what the sentence is about? If you said subject, you are absolutely right. So if the sentence is, Mrs. No ran quickly away from the angry bull, the subject would be Mrs. No. All right, so a sentence is a group of words that has a subject. Subject. I should probably pause the video while I'm doing this so it's not too slow because, of course, I want my writing to look beautiful. All right, our sentence has a subject and it needs something to happen. What's the part of speech where something happens? It is a verb. Good. So we need a subject and a verb. And what's the fancy word in our sentence for the verb? Oh, if you said predicate, you are just right, so fancy. But we can say verb, but then after it in parentheses, I'm going to put predicate, just because next year when you start doing more grammar, I think you're going to use predicate more. All right, so a sentence is a group of words that has a subject and a verb, which we also call the predicate. So if our sentence, what did I say earlier? Mrs. No ran quickly away from the angry bull. I'm the subject. What's the verb? What's happening in the sentence? I'm running. All right, so we know that we've got a subject and a verb. All right, it has to make what? It has to make sense, right? Let's see, I could take those words and put them in a different order. Or if I said, Mrs. No quickly away from the angry bull, that wouldn't make sense. If I said, the bull quickly ran away from Mrs. No, well, it seems unlikely, but it's possible. But that's why we need to go back and read our sentence, right? If we leave out a word, then it's often doesn't make sense. So it needs to make sense. All right, so we've got our sentence, which is a group of words with a subject, Mrs. No, a predicate, ran. It makes sense because if we say those words, it sounds right to us. Mrs. No ran quickly away from the angry bull. All right, that makes sense. I can make a picture of it in my head. It begins with a, what kind of letter does every complete sentence begin with? A capital letter. Begins with a capital letter. So we have not reviewed those yet. I'm pretty sure we'll review them. At this point, if you're not sure how to write a capital of a certain letter, and you're not coming into school, then ask your parents. All right, if we don't review them and you're not sure, then you can ask me when I see you at school. But you must always begin with a capital letter. You know, I have never ever in my whole life been reading a book and seen sentences that didn't start with a capital letter. It just doesn't happen. You always begin with a capital letter. All right, so right now when I'm saying the sentence, we don't see a capital letter, but when you write it down, you gotta put it there. You don't hear it in the words, but when you're writing it down, you must have a capital letter at the beginning. All right, and so, all right, sentence, group of words, subject, predicate or verb, makes sense, begins with a capital letter. The last thing is finishes with an, excellent, finishes with an end mark. So remember, an end mark is a punctuation mark that tells us our sentence is over, right? It's not just any kind of punctuation mark. There's lots and lots of punctuation marks. There are only 3 end marks. Can someone tell me what is one kind of an end mark? Very good. A period is one kind of end mark. What is another kind of end mark? Good. An exclamation point is also an end mark. And what is, let's see, our last kind of end mark, what is that? All right, if you said question mark, excellent job. Those are the only 3 punctuation marks that tell us, stop, this is the end of the sentence. All right, so we need one of those every time in our sentence. Otherwise, if I'm reading and I don't know how to stop, it's gonna all get run together and it's not gonna be correct either. So one more time, every time you write a sentence, I want you to scoop up your group of words. And then I want you to check for a subject, good, for a predicate or verb. Those are the same thing, different names for the same thing. I want you to check that your sentence makes sense. It needs to begin with a, boom, capital letter, and it needs to finish with an end mark. Excellent. All right. Now, one really quick word about this. If you are writing a sentence that I give you, and you write every word, then it will have a subject, and it will have a predicate, and it will make sense. Now, of course, you still need to go and make sure that you write every word I gave you. If I give you the sentence, the cute bunny is sleeping, and you forget the word bunny, and you say the cute is sleeping, does that make sense? It doesn't. So when I give you a sentence, it's very important that you always check it, but you'll be checking to make sure you wrote every word that I gave you, and for the capital letter and the end mark. Because if I give you a sentence, I promise you it will have a subject, it will have a verb or predicate, and it will make sense. All right, so that being said, I hope you are ready for your first sentence. We are going to do 2 sentences today. I know we started with just one 3-word sentence, and then we did a 4-word sentence, and now we're going to do 2 sentences, but just one at a time. So remember, I'll say it again, make a picture in your head. That way, when you're writing and you think, what was that sentence? You go back to that picture. All right, our first sentence. 6 pigs felt hot. 6 pigs felt hot. Making a picture. Class, what's your sentence? Good. 6 pigs felt hot. So write it. Well, so you'll pause the video, write it, check it. All right. So the video should be paused now. You're writing and checking your sentence. All right. So you should have had your sentence. Let me write it for you quickly here. See, I'm starting with a capital letter. All right, so if you checked, your sentence would look like mine. These are all basic code words, so there's no 2-letter phonograms. Everything's saying its first sound, closed syllables, so there's nothing tricky in there. So hopefully everything was spelled correctly, and you checked and you had started with a capital and ended with an end mark. All right, your last sentence. The fast car is red. Start to make a picture in your mind. The fast car is red. Class, what's the sentence? Very good. The fast car is red. So write it, check it. Before you do that, pause the video. All right, so class, the sentence, we're up to a 5-word sentence now. The fast car is red. So always starting with a capital letter, and I sincerely hope that you paused the video and wrote the sentence yourself, right? Instead of just waiting and copying, because remember, the virtue of integrity is very important for when we're doing online school. All right, so this one did have that 2-letter phonogram, but I thought that you had probably knew the word car. So after I had written it, I would have gone back and read it. And when I read the first word, I would have checked to make sure it began with a capital letter. All right, the fast car is red. All right, so I know that it has all the words that I said. So I know that it has a subject and a predicate and that it makes sense. And when I started, I checked. Oh, there's a capital letter. So what's the last thing I need to make sure it has? Very good. I need to make sure it has an end mark. All right. Very nice work today, class. We're going to keep learning more phonograms, reviewing phonograms, and practicing with our open and closed syllables and our silent final E's. Tomorrow, we're also going to learn the third and final way that a vowel can say its name. So stay tuned.